It looks good up there. We are recording, I believe.
Why do I keep getting text? Who's texting me?
We are recording. So yeah, all that good stuff is happening. I have my mic on and the mute switch is on. Your mute switch is on or off or however you want to say that. Sorry for everybody that had to deal with that audio last week, but we're back. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Tuesday. My name is Benjamin.
I'm Tim.
And we are happy to be giving you guys Tech Tuesday the way that you knew it prior to the chaos of SEMA. And really, honestly, before that. But we're here answering your questions for the people, which is why we do this. If you guys have questions, you leave comments. And if there aren't enough comments, we go to Facebook and all those great things. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So you clicked on the video to listen to us answer questions. So we'll jump into that. But before we do, Tim, do you have any questions, quibbles, or even fashion statement tips before we begin?
Always wear your PPE. If it's loud, wear earmuffs. If it's hot, have some kind of protection. If it's anything with gasoline, wear eye protection. If you have a Chevy that is from the 80s and 90s and you're working underneath of it, wear eye protection because it'll occupy your afternoon just a little bit to get in all the bits and pieces out of your eyes.
Yep.
And you know me, I drive the best vehicles in the parking lot.
Yep. It's true. You got a great new truck.
Oh, the Colorado.
Yep.
Oh, the thing is wonderful. I broke the steering shaft in it last night, the actual what steers the thing. So the universal joint in there, it's toast. And I still drove to work. Still drove it to work. It was sketchy.
I'm just imagining you driving that Blazer after, fixing it to enough to be on the road to the recording studio last week.
Yeah,
you do a lot of those funny drives.
Everything I drive is generally pretty terrible, but the best part is, like the Blazer, we're starting this new video series where we're doing installs, and I'm like walking through and talking about every single aspect.
You might see one of them today.
Yeah,
or actually, we're recording this on Monday, so you might see one of those today when you'll see the Tech Tuesday tomorrow.
We're time travelers. So
yeah, we do things different around here.
But in Individual,
yeah,
I'm walking through the whole thing. Intake, some of the theories, some of the things to look out for, the combination that I got it in, all that stuff. The engine and transmission and Jackpot system on that Blazer is amazing. The Blazer is not. the Blazer is... it is one of the hardest things to drive. The only thing that works good on it is what we
It's hard to drive across the parking lot, let alone.
It has no power steering.
Yeah.
It has an overly built transmission in it now, so every time you go into any gear, it's an event. I've even softened it up quite a lot. It used to be violent. Now it's mid.
Question 1 by Hunter Timms. 9688 says, "Hi, I'm really excited to see more about the PDM. Hopefully y'all can do a video of an install. Really looking forward to the idea of cleaning up some of the wiring." That's great. For those of you that won the PDM giveaway, those orders are being created partially today, partially tomorrow. You should see a confirmation email. People were asking me, how did we know how to get them the new PDM? Well, one of the instructions was to have purchased something from us before. So we looked you up after you were picked from the random number generator.
And we will be making a video about that. Right now I'm collecting all the appropriate data from all engineering avenues, and I'm going to be putting together a nice information package and do a little video. I'm going to probably lay one out and then kind of how I like to install it as it goes.
Sure.
What the different things do. We may change some of the wording on it because it'll say like MRD on there, which is main relay. But a lot of people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So as you can tell from our verbiage and a lot of our stuff, everything from the handheld to the software, we use the literal sense of a word. A push is a push, a follow is a follow.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. But I mean, that's the thing. We don't speak human all the time, so we'll do the best we can. We're probably going to change some of this stuff later to be a little bit more friendly to
Yeah.
you, the people,
Yeah.
because we do this for the people.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the PDM itself, it's my understanding is it's pretty self-explanatory. Works the same way most PDMs work, in my opinion. But I don't. I foresee it being one of those things where it's like an additional purchase on top of, like, let's say you're getting a Killshot or you're getting a Jackpot or something like that. It's a way of upgrading your specific kit that you're buying. But if that's something that you're not wanting to get into or really need right out the gate, you could purchase that later on as well. So
Yeah,
that's my understanding of how it will function from a e-commerce perspective.
I'm going to do some real awesome stuff because, I did a lot of testing on the PDM and trying to short it out and do 1,000 awful things to it. I'm putting one on the Tahoe, which you guys know my Tahoe. It's rickety. But I do a lot of system testing. It officially has had the most amount of ACES system on it with the most mileage. I think the only person that's beat me out on mileage currently is Anthony Carrera and my brother. That's the only two people that has more mileage on ACES system than me.
What your brother has, you already drove.
I already put mileage on.
I was gonna say. I was gonna say, yeah.
But his new truck broke, and he's been relying on driving that old Cousin Eddie camper of mine.
Oh yeah, check that out.
Hits the key every day, starts up and goes.
Vulture. But yeah, PDM stuff, videos
PDM
will
stuff.
come in the future. I have no doubt in my mind. If anybody wants to make videos about the PDM when they get it, for those that won, it's also not
True
that
that.
idea.
Bang and clang. Winning, yeah. One of the PDM units from the Facebook giveaway was great, but I'm still
Patiently
waiting for the boost controller tie-in for the Jackpot. I agree. We have a Turbo LS Subaru rear-wheel drive drift monster with a sequential gearbox in it, running on a Jackpot. Briefly seen in one of my videos, but we will, when we get the actual working, the production level prototype in, that's the one we'll be doing the boost control video on. It should be coming out in the next year, hopefully sooner than that. But as soon as it's available and ready, there will be information. There'll be a video, then there'll be a product release, and it's going to be epic because then you can just buy the thing, already have the information on how to hook it up, and send it. Lots of pulse width modulated things going on there, but it's going to be good.
It's cool to see these things as we're about to go to PRI too. So all of these more racing application questions is probably a lot more than what we get up there. So it's fun that we're getting these right before PRI too. So
if y'all at PRI and you want to talk about it, holler at me. I'll be
swing by.
I'll be in the booth.
Not planning on going already, and you can. Colin Morgan D5I. I would like to hear more about the Jackpot and high performance applications, specifically your 800 horsepower kit and twin turbos. Colin, that is a good question. As far as 800 horsepower, that's just based on the injectors that come in the kit, or at least that's how it was.
Tuning. You got big numbers. You're gonna have to tune them things. Stock
absolutely.
mild motor, not a big deal. We've actually got our calibrations way closer than we ever had before. Takes a lot of legwork, I can tell you that. So, obviously, one of my hobbies outside of work is tuning, and one of my things I get paid for here is internal tuning and developing calibrations. So it's allowed us to get closer every time. The 800 horsepower stuff, it's going to just be really getting the tune dialed in, especially with the twin turbo. We don't have the boost controller yet, but we will in the future. So you're going to be either an external setup, standalone situation on the boost controller, or you're going to have to just, shoot for 10 pounds and go on the spring. So it's really up to you, but, we will be doing a lot more videos on the dyno in the next year about just, working on different things that are in that horsepower range or higher.
Yeah.
Like just going full throttle on something just real nasty with our stuff on there, and how we're attacking the tuning on that.
Yeah.
As a good way to do it, because we're going to do videos very soon. As soon as these current series that we're working on goes out, which is going to be Jackpot Killshot stuff, but we're going to be getting deep into the software. I'm waiting on an update, and then we're going to get into it. That way it's like, hey, this is what we got. This makes the most sense. This is what we changed.
Yeah.
This is
and
how it works.
Not like the tech shorts, which are great, but the
it'd be painfully long.
The actual screen recordings. I mean, I've even talked to you about possibly getting some software built in to screen record the handhelds themselves. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but like these kinds of things that would help make it easier for you to just view what's going on.
Like a handheld emulator.
Yeah.
So that is a possibility. It's just not on our priority list currently. We want to. But that honestly, that will probably be a thing y'all see at some point down the road.
But we've gotten tons of questions about those kinds of videos in the past, and we just haven't been able to.
Just working into them, because what we've ran into previously is we've been changing our technology and upgrading it, and it's not like, oh, hey, you know, Ace has got a thing going on, they keep changing the software. No, we're just adapting it to what the customers have been asking us to do. We're like, okay, let's update that. Let's update that. We're getting to the point that the frequency of that is drastically reduced. So the last few things has taken months to collect that information, so we're making the change, and now it's like, okay, this is going to be software we're going to have out for a while with minimal changing. So now it's time to make these really in-depth videos.
Next question comes from Banging Clang again. He says, the thing I'd be interested to see or be educated on in a Tech Tuesday is how the Jackpot Pro and the Full House Plus work with each other, as both systems come with their respective sensor inputs and respective harnesses. I currently am not running the Full House Plus on my Jackpot Pro due to not understanding if both need separate sensor inputs or the Full House Plus gets its inputs through the Jackpot. For example, if the team map and the mounting block knock sensor connections and such that comes with the Full House Plus is needed.
I got an answer for that.
Yeah.
So Jackpot, it's great. Outputs some ground triggers and whatnot for the coils. Does a fine job. But whenever you couple that together, like you take the harness, the output harness for the Jackpot, and you plug it into the Full House harness. Now, they both need their separate power. They both need their separate switch, 12 volts, all that jazz. Yeah. But the Jackpot will dumbfire those direct coils. So it just, whenever the Jackpot tells it to do its job, it's telling the Full House to do its job just hotter and better than the Jackpot can do by itself. So it's just massive, massive coil drivers, basically, is what it is. Yeah. So you can dumbfire them through there. You can set it up and do a bunch of internal stuff too, but if you're already running a Jackpot with a Full House attached to it, you don't really need to do it. But it is good if you're running Boost or E85 to run a Full House because of the extra spark. And the coils can deal with a lot more abuse. Yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens with the Full House and its line of products over the course of the next year, too, as we go into the high-performance applications, as we touched on in the last question. But, yeah, great stuff. Good stuff.
Jam. 13210. When will the fuel level feature be turned on in the handhelds? It's hard to find aftermarket fuel gauge that work with GM sending units. For the people, please. Yes, I've been told it should be soon released. I can touch base with them again. They were on a bit of a holiday, so I know they're back in the office. And, yeah, hopefully we should be seeing that probably in the next software version. Yeah. Maybe not on all systems, but probably Killshot Jackpot is the ones we're mainly going to focus on, and then we'll be incorporating the rest of them. So I hope to see that in like the next month or so.
Yeah. It'd be
or
really
sooner,
cool. Preferably
sooner, because I've already got mine wired. I really just want to test it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. Yeah. I actually haven't gotten to see it, so
it's neat stuff.
Yeah.
Hi guys, really enjoyed watching your Tech Tip Tuesday and looking at all the comments. Do you have any plans to upgrade to Full House TBI unit, like what you're doing with the Killshot Pro? Let's see, Full House TBI. To run dual TBI and with a great new EGT in the handheld, I think it'd be a good combination. Not currently with the Full House, because the Killshot Pro is going to be a spicy unit all in itself. So I'm actually doing some testing on a Full House TBI, but it's still going to be a single throttle body. Now, if it does adapt up later, that means we'll have to change the throttle body and some other things to make that work correctly, but it's still not out of question. If there is enough people that want that particular setup, I don't see a problem in trying to push for that.
Yep.
Just like everything else we've done. You guys keep asking these questions and making suggestions, and unless we physically cannot do it, we generally try our best to get it done. Lee8652. Hey guys, any plans for a fuel flow consumption or totalizer info in the handheld? It's kind of in there in a weird way. Now, we don't give you like how much fuel you've consumed. We give you what the injection pulse width is. And if you math it up a little bit, you can kind of figure it out because it's in milliseconds, and we know that how much fuel pressure you have. We know how big the injector is, so you can actually calculate the flow. That's something that if we do anything like that, it would be a variant of estimated miles per gallon. And that would probably be a future project thing, kind of when we start running out of other things to improve upon in the handhelds. So we can do a miles per gallon estimation calculator at some point if we really wanted to, if a lot of people were really interested in that. But it's not really, we're more on the performance and standalone side of it all. Mm-hmm. So
love it.
It's a yes and no.
Matthew Hoover, 5169. And I know I've heard you guys say in other videos not to mess with or cut the wiring harness, but I have a Bell-type oil pressure sending unit, one wire. Would it be possible to link my fuel pressure in with the wiring harness without hurting anything?
I wouldn't cut into the wiring harness any, and it really depends on, because the fuel pressure that we're using is in a very specific scaling. So I don't know what that Bell-type oil pressure sending unit, how different it is from our fuel pressure transducer scaling, because it is in a certain voltage range. It is, at a certain pressure range, so we know what that linear value is. I hear a car.
That's cool.
People know we're here. They're starting to do, really starting to let the exhaust ring out front.
Matthew, my question to you would be, have you reached out to us via the phone, either through customer service, or have you reached out to us online, sending pictures, stuff like that, to the tech department, customer service team? Have them see what's going on. It's harder to say just from this outside, like out loud, but I would say, depending on how you've got your fuel pressure set up, and what you're running that with, is it our fuel pressure sensor kit? If not, you could use our pressure sensor kit for the oil pressure.
Yeah, that's why we listed it twice in the handheld, one for oil pressure, one for fuel pressure. He's just looking to use, I think he's just looking to use a different type sensor, which will scale all kinds of unknown reasons. We don't even know if it's a resistance thing or if it's voltage thing or whatever not. So if you're worried about that and you don't want to buy our sensor kit, you can actually roll the dice on the Amazon ones. I've used a few of them, but they are a little bit hit and miss if you get them. So they may last for a while, they may not. They may work right out the box, they may not. Usually if you buy one, I usually just buy 5 of the things.
I'd send in some pictures. I think that'd be helpful too. Nate Lamorix. I'm terrible at that. 4843. Hey, y'all. I like what you're selling. Unfortunately, I live in Alaska, and I want to put y'all's LS kit on my daily driver along with a mild cam. Up here, sometimes it drops below 0 for a week or 2 at a time. My question is to y'all, how well will your stuff work when it's super cold out? Have y'all even tested it in the freezing cold or thought about extreme thermal swings like going from sitting to driving? Thanks, y'all. Guy from Alaska saying y'all. I love it. This is great.
Speaking of extreme thermal stuff, as you guys have heard in my previous sayings on a few Tech Tuesdays, I've used a heat gun directly on it itself and got it crazy hot. I've also packed one in dry ice, and it's done very well. Now, if I went too far with the heat gun, obviously there'll be a melting point for all materials inside. But I haven't been able to freeze one out yet, other than the risk of condensation.
Yeah, and from when I was in customer service even to now, I've never had somebody call in from Canada or wherever else in the world where it's cold and say, it's not starting anymore because it's cold outside. So I've never had that happen to my knowledge. One thing you could do is we could probably send a message in our official Facebook group and see if anybody else has had something like that, but nothing that I know of.
the big risk factor in that is, as you folks from the Great North know, you're going to run into a whole thing about the oil thickness and temperature range. What it's like to cold start a motor whenever it's got a slow, hard crank and you're drawing 300 amps on the starter and it's pulling the voltage out of the whole system, which may mess with the ECU. So that's the biggest concern I could see with that. If you got a pretty spicy good battery, you shouldn't really have any kind of issues. But if you got a cold start that really lugs, you might remove all the voltage from the system and actually give it a little bit of a headache. That's the biggest risk factors I can see with very, very cold motors.
Yeah. Cool.
At least we're not doing diesel stuff. I got.
Oh man,
I'm good. Matthew Hoover, 5169. I have a 1995 Chevy pickup with a 383 in it. I ordered your Royal Flush Master Key kit. I have not installed it yet. I have had an autometer digital dash and was wondering how could I get the fuel level to work on the digital dash, because the fuel level is going to work on our dash, not so much your autometer stuff. Your autometer stuff where it doesn't really have any kind of CAN communication or anything like that, and we have a different kind of network because it's not like the same J1939 stuff. It's it's ours, our CAN encoding. Yeah, you're just going to have to run a fuel level sender to your digital autometer dash and hook it up that way, because even if we have the fuel level input, it's not going to have a fuel level output as well. It's just going to have the input and then display on the dash accordingly.
Yeah.
On our dash, that is. I know it's not what you want to hear, but I mean that's the answer.
Man, it's the same guy, and I feel so bad. But Abraham Hernandez, middle name, I'm just gonna leave it to you guys. 7048. I've got a 95 F-150 306 small block Ford. I went with the Royal Flush. Around how much better will my gas mileage be?
Tuning.
Yeah.
If you do tuning, I have got horrible gas mileage out of EFI before, and I've got very, very good gas mileage. My Tahoe is getting very good gas mileage, but I set up a 2D graph AFR table. I've got my timing just right. I got my fueling just right. I got my fuel pressure just right. Yeah. And, I'm getting extremely good fuel economy out of my Tahoe, but it did take a little bit of tuning to do. Yeah. Now, right out the box, it runs a little bit on the richer side, as all systems do. So you can go in there and mess with it and change your AFR targets and change your fuel tables and change your timing and all that stuff and get very good economy out of it. But you're making a trade-off of you're losing something to gain something else.
Yep.
So when you move that ratio around, you're like, economy, horsepower.
Touche. Last question. You get the last question. I read the last one. I read Abraham's.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what we got here. MGP Customs 4494. Can I upgrade from Killshot to Killshot Pro? Well,
I don't believe that there are any options for that from a e-commerce perspective that I am aware of.
I don't think that's going to be a thing. When the Killshot Pro comes out, it's going to be kind of its own thing. It's a whole different tier of. I mean, it's not so much like, you can just take off the throttle body and plug this one in, because they're going to be pinned differently. The ECU is going to be a bit different. The throttle body is different. It is, even though they share the name, it's a different system.
The software will also be a little bit different.
Yep. Handheld too. Handheld will be different too. I mean, we're still going to have it at an affordable price, but it's one of those things that. Yeah, we're pushing this Killshot Pro because we're going to have like the Killshot Classic, Killshot Pro. Yeah, and just the 3 different tier levels to fit the most customers out there. So if somebody don't want something overly complicated, so go with the Classic, cut it down. Don't worry about it if they're going to do something extra, 2x4 applications, I/O, crazy stuff, this, that, and the other. Go with the Pro. If you just want one that works, time of control or no time of control, Killshot. Yeah, but it's going to. We're going to have systems that fits people's needs, just like when we made the Jackpot TBI setup. We had no plans of making that. We just seen a lot of people using another brand with our stuff to make this work. I'm like, let's just
or just flat out asking us, can you put a Killshot on an LS engine? And we're like, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
I gotta adjust the thing of that because every time I do a Jackpot TBI, I notice I got to add about 10-15% more fuel to it to make it just start up perfect. So something I need to fiddle with there.
Tim, thank you very much for joining me up here. And for you guys, thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Tech Tuesday. 51 episodes. It's crazy. For the people.
For the people.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this episode of Tech Tuesday, please feel free to leave a like down below. If you have any questions about EFI or ACES EFI as well, please feel free to leave a comment down below as well and point others our direction if they are looking to get into the realm of fuel injection. But until we see you guys again, as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.
Bye now.